We ended with these transformations, okay? We're going to talk about the last kind of log. Remember I said there's two kinds we focus on. The first one is this common logarithmic function with the base 10. The other one we're going to talk about is natural logs. Okay, natural logs are logs with base e. Okay, we saw e yesterday. E is that other number like pi. The natural exponential function is e with raised to the x power, so raised to the variable power. We call the inverse of this the natural logarithmic function. Say that 10 times fast. It's kind of impossible. It's all right, we're not in English. That's okay. Yes.
What does that bottom thing say? LNS?
Yes, I'm glad you asked that. So, remember how with natural logs we just totally disregard that 10? Natural logs, we don't even write log, we just write lnx because we're lazy in math. Okay, so we write as few letters and numbers as possible. Okay, so really what you need to know is there's an invisible e there. So if you see ln of x, that's the natural logarithmic function. The natural logarithmic base, the base is understood to be e. You don't have a blank bottom of your paper, but there should be a little e right there. Okay? Sorry, I'm like always in your way over here.
It's okay.
Actually not.
Way to advocate for yourself. Kick me out. ln, we would say ln of x. Okay, that's how you would read this. ln of x. You know that it's really log base e of x. All means the same. Okay? The most common one you'll see is this guy, though. That's why we wrote it in the blank. Okay. Here's what I already told you. Log base e of x is just equal to ln of x. Okay? That's just like the formal definition. Where x is greater than 0, y on our graph, what did we see happening at x equals 0? What did we have there on our graph? It dropped, and what did we have going through that x equals 0? Not a slant. Straight up and down. You got it. Vertical asymptote. There you go. We had a vertical asymptote at 0. That's why we're able to make that statement. Okay, we already talked about that. Again, this is called natural logarithmic function. Logarithmic function. Okay, so on your calculator, there's also a button for this. It's right underneath your log button. You'll see a button that just says ln. You'll press that. You'll type in 2. Okay, so there it's. Go back up a little bit. So now let's get the practice just typing that into our calculator. If you type in a 2, you should get 0.693. Okay? All right, so that's our first one. The second one, ln of a negative, what's going to happen here? Yeah, this is no real solution. Okay, because remember, my x value here is a negative. But up here, I said x has to be greater than 0. Okay, so your calculator is going to give you an error if you type in a negative number. Okay, we don't want negative numbers. They don't exist on my logarithmic function graph. Okay. Natural log of 0.3. We would get negative 1.204. Everyone okay up to this point? We're okay typing it in. Okay, our next one. We just have to talk a little bit about formatting. In your calculator, you'll press the ln button, but you have to make sure you have parentheses around the whole thing. Okay? That's the only way it will work. And we should get 0.881. Okay? Another way you could do it is you could just type this into your calculator first. get a number, and then do the natural log of that number, okay? But if you want to do it all in one step, you just have to make sure those parentheses are around it, okay? All right, any questions on our calculator buttons? All right. Next little bit is a lot of writing again. But again, it matters. These are our properties of natural logs. Okay, so we're going to use these properties too. We had properties for the first ones. These are now all involving ln and e.
Is that first one ln1?
Yes. Here, I'll make that a little more obvious. There. Looks like a 1, a little more.
What's about the other 0?
Yes, it's a 0. Okay, now the nice part, you guys probably don't realize this, maybe some of you do. These are the same exact properties as the ones we just wrote down. Same exact ones, we just now, they look a little different because it's e and we have L of n instead of log, okay? But in terms of remembering what the properties are, it's the same. For example, the last one had log here. Now it just says ln, but natural log of 1 is still just 0, okay? If I have the natural log of e, remember, natural log can be written log e of e. What do you notice about the base of my big number? They're what? The same, so it equals 1. We already talked about that property, okay? So if you see the natural log of e, know it's equaling 1, because its base is technically e. Okay, 3, let's use 2 examples here. If I have the natural log of e raised to the 2, again, you can think about it in terms of, well, that's going to cancel out. I just have my exponent, my answer's 2. Okay. In a similar way, if I have e raised to the ln of a number, let me pick a different one so it stands out. We would get whatever that big number is. Okay? So again, we've already talked about these properties. They now just look a little different because it's L of n. Okay, instead of log. Okay, but really L of n is a log. It's just the log with base e. And then my one-to-one property is the same down here. If it's the natural log of x equals the natural log of y, then x has to equal y. Okay? So nothing new there. The only new thing is our notation. We're now talking about natural log. Okay. Does anybody need to see the screen? Can I move on? All right. So flip your paper over. I want you to try these 4 now. So practice using our properties. Okay, see what you can do. There's 4 there. I'll reveal our answer, and then we will be done with our notes.
Keep the properties on the...
Yeah, I can do that. Here's your properties. Mm-hmm. Nope, that's Ella. That's always your natural log. I write it cursive because I think it looks like a 1, but if it's typed, it's going to look like that. If you get stuck on one of them, skip it. There's some in there that you might be able to get a little quicker. Okay, I recognize some of these are hard. One of them's hard, don't just give up. Try the next one.
Where are we rounding to?
3 spots.
Yes.
Is there a way to like do like the thing that's like recave like the one being like real wide?
Not really. Not for this one.
So they're just like lining up.
Right. You're just finding a property that it could match. You might need to rewrite something in it. Like, for example, you rewrite this fraction as something with an exponent. This.
Yeah, because I did not get it good. Well, why did you get that either? So I think really well.
Well, this part would be 1, but then take multiple.
That didn't make sense. I'm looking for it so much time.
So it's using property 2, but you've got to take it one step further. All right, let's look at some of these. Okay. I'm just going to do A and B first. Okay.
Oh.
So here's A and B. Notice for A, there was a step before that. Okay. If you look at something, you're like, I have no idea what to do. See if you can rewrite whatever this is as something with an exponent. Okay. So I had an E in the denominator. I know that I can rewrite that as e to the negative 1. Okay. E to the negative 1 and 1 over e is the same. Then I use, I think that's what, my first property, maybe? Second property, I don't have them in front of me. Okay? I have the same base in the same big number. There's an e right there, e here, so my answer is my exponent. Okay? That's A.
Yeah.
2. If I just look at ln of e, I know that that's 1. But then I have that 2 out front, don't lose it. And this is attached by multiplication. So 2 times 1 gives me 2. Okay? Any questions on those two?
Which property is that?
The first, this one? Without it in front of me, I think 3, right here. We had this one. So we knew it was my exponent. Okay. Here's C and D. A lot of you had C right, which is great. I have E raised to the natural log. So whatever I'm doing the natural log of is my answer. D, there's actually 2 ways you could have done it. The first way was using my, I think it's property 1, or maybe it was 2. The natural log of 1 gives me 0 over 3, and then I divided it. The other way you could have done it was you could recognize that you could rewrite this as 1/3 natural log of 1, which would be 1/3 times 0, which gives you 0. Okay, so 2 different ways you could have done this second one. Both would have gotten you to the right answer. All right, any questions on these 4?
Makes no sense.
It'll make more and more sense as you practice it. That's what I was getting to next. So yes, there's a lot of things to remember. This is a lot of like recognizing what is happening, seeing if you can rewrite something, okay? It's not going to come right away. This is the kind of thing that takes practice, okay? As you get used to seeing these problems over and over again, okay? Tonight, for your homework, you have a choice, okay? Some of you love doing that textbook homework, so you can. It's right here, okay? It's over here. Or in our packet, if you go to page 27 to 29, you can do every other odd, okay? So we did this before where it was like not just the odds, but you skip the odds. So you do 3, you skip 5, you do 7, kind of thing, okay? So 2 different choices. You pick whichever one you want to do for tonight, but I would highly recommend doing at least one of them, okay? Because you've got to get practice. That's the only way we get good at this, okay? Is recognizing, seeing what you're being asked to do, applying the properties, okay? Because we move on tomorrow. We're going to do 5.3 tomorrow. We don't have a practice day for this one. Our practice day will come on Thursday and Friday. Okay? But good job on this. I was impressed, okay? We're getting into some of the harder material, so keep it up. We are almost done.